Good evening. Happy holidays. It's Johnny Bunting Jr. here. 25 ways to make 25K. This is what we're doing tonight. 25 ways to make 25K. Um, Happy holidays to you all. And I want to start this off by saying not everything that I did was successful. Not everything that I did was successful. Peace, Donnell. How you doing? Boom. If you want to come on camera, I'll give you the. That's totally up to you. Boom. But I want to build with some brothers, sisters, if you will, about entrepreneurship. And a lot of times you have to dare to go out there and do it. I am going to reveal to you, this was one of my ideas on the money. See? On the money. I made t-shirts to sell thinking that we might be able to make some money by promoting getting her on the $20 bill. I had a cousin of mine, me and him brainstormed this because we was brainstorming things. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to print it out. I know somebody. I get it printed out, see if we make some money. We didn't make no money. We didn't make no money. But, so, my thing is, the amount of money that we invested, wasn't a lot. So we took a chance to see if it would do something. It didn't. Or maybe it didn't because we didn't put in the footwork that we could have, should have, would have to make it better. Didn't have the know-how. Whatever the case may be, we only invested a little bit of money to see if we could get it up off the ground. And when it didn't hit the way we wanted it to, like, all right, well, cool. I didn't lose a bunch of money because I didn't go all in big. And I'm not saying that everybody should be as cautious, but you shouldn't be reckless. So there's other investments that I put in a decent amount of money, and I'm thankful that when I did put in larger amounts, they actually paid off. But there's been one thing I can tell you that I've done. Advertising, when you're dealing with advertising, whatever it is you're advertising, be careful of what you are advertising and where you are spending your money. Because I have a company. Well, the company's doing pretty well today, but my company offers various services. It centers around cleaning. So janitorial services, lawn care, I clean chutes, garbage chutes, I clean trash compactors. I've even been doing flood remediation where I'm going underneath buildings and pulling out, sucking up flood with a sump pump, sucking the flood out from under it. Basements, mold remediation. I've been doing things that centered around cleaning. Whether you call it janitorial, because every part of cleaning is not janitorial. But I've marketed there's certain places that market to certain demographics. And I was contacted by someone, and they were saying that they have an audience of people of the Jewish faith. I have no beef whatsoever with them. And I understand that that is a market. They have they frequent a lot of establishments like as a group. So if you can actually get in, you can get money from you can create another source of revenue from that demographic. So that being said, I went to Queens, spoke to this guy. It sounded good. I invested $3,000 into an advertising campaign for a year. I paused because I want you to think, so what happened with the three? Not a damn thing. And I mean literally not a damn thing. Nothing. $3,000 up in smoke. Like literally, I didn't get one contact off that. And it was like, oh, listen, they gave me a discount. Listen, this card, this is usually about $12,000. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, well, listen, because he was saying there was another package that was more expensive. I was like, well, listen, if this works and this gets me what I want, because I want contracts. I want contracts with commercial properties. I want to be able to do office buildings, schools, business, what have you. I said, if this works, then next year I'll take it to the next level because I would have made, decent money. I could get one contract. One contract would have paid for the 3,000 and on. I'd have made profit off of one contract. Didn't get it. Didn't make it. Now, I'm saying this and I'm showing this and I'm explaining this because I do not want people to believe that if your first thing fails, that you're a failure. Because that's not true. Sometimes your misses, meaning that you can hit and you can miss. So sometimes the misses creates learning situations where it would make you better in the future. Because believe me, the next advertising opportunity that I had, someone came to me. I mean, this guy is cool still to this day. He came to me about doing advertising for the car wash. You know how you'll go shopping and in the back of the receipt, it'll have some promotions or on the receipt. When you print out, you have your what you spent, and then on the back of the receipt, it has marketed or after your purchase on the receipt. Because sometimes it's right after what you purchase, sometimes it's on the back. But in this case, it was in the back. Back of the receipt, it had the promotion. Now, I did make some money off of this. I'm not going to say I didn't, but it was not a good ROI. ROI means return on investment. So I'm saying that I did receive some customers from it because I'm not going to lie and say I didn't. But the amount of money that I was spending for the advertisement, the amount of customers that I got from the advertisement didn't add up to what I was spending. So I was taking a loss with the advertisement. Now, was it was in the Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop gets a lot of business. So I went there myself and purchased something just to make sure that it was on the back of the receipts, and it was. And like I said, I've had clients come, because I put something on Facebook saying, go to Stop and Shop, I'm there. Boom. But it wasn't a good return on investment. It would have been better for me to just keep my money and do something else with it, or like, yo, listen, if they come, they come. It wasn't a good return on investment. I've done Facebook ads. Didn't spend a lot of money on Facebook ads. The Facebook ads are, I can't really give you proper feedback on that. Is because I didn't like with the Jewish thing. I would have known specifically if that worked because the demographic, that's easy. The Stop and Shop thing was easy because they would have physically brought me the piece of the receipt in order to get the discount. And they have. The Facebook is not like they have to physically bring me anything, and they don't have to tell me when they come. So it wasn't like, well, listen, you got to come here, you got to say, listen, I was on Facebook, I got you, so you had on Facebook and get a discount. It was just me advertising on Facebook. So when I was going into the back office, if you will, of it, and seeing the numbers and how many people it reached, so on and so forth, uh, it it can be usable. So I'm saying you can add this to your marketing advertising campaign because it's relatively inexpensive. Like anybody can afford it. And you can tweak it to create your own audience, so how many people you want to reach and demographics, so on and so forth. So it's pretty good. Um, what else did I do? Uh, Two of the better things that I did where I knew where it was coming from were absolutely free. I didn't spend no money at all. I went online, went to Yelp, signed up, put my information on there, put my phone number on there. I went to Google, did the same thing. And the phone number, I have a Google phone number. So because these are the only places that I put the number on at the time, whenever I received a call from there, boom, I knew where it was coming from. Facebook, I did a post on Facebook. This wasn't a paid, this was just a regular post. In August, was it last year? It's 21 now. It was 20. Yeah, because it was the pandemic. I was on my anniversary. I went somewhere and I put a post because we were struggling. The car wash was struggling, and I was contemplating on selling it because I've had people, trying to holler at me about purchasing it. So I put a post. I was stressed, not because of myself, because I had another business. I had other things I was doing to make money. And I was more stressed about the guys that I had working and what would they do. So I put a post on Facebook, um, basically talking about my struggles. And I don't remember the exact count, but the post got shared like close to 350 times. And people were coming and they were saying, because of Facebook, they were saying that, like, listen, they didn't want me to sell. They wanted to keep, a brother in the black community, so on and so forth. And they were coming for details. So it wasn't even like they was just coming for a car wash. They was coming spending $100, $200 just to keep a cash flow coming in. And so that actually, because of that, that actually kept me open like another year because I wasn't feeling it no more. I wasn't feeling it. The struggles. Uh, like I said, I had another business. I have another business, and my my money was being commingled. You're not supposed to do that. And I don't really mean commingled because it wasn't in the same bank account. But I was basically using some of my money from that I made off one business to help the car wash to be able to pay some bills. And you're not supposed to do that. So there was moments when I made a nice, it paid for itself, and there was moments where it didn't. It was like a back and forth. And get tired of it, especially as my other company was starting to make more and more money. It's like, yo, why am I even battling with this when I could just move on? And then I had the little woes and struggles with the staff, and I'm away doing stuff, and they're not working properly, and like uh, it was too much stress for me to bear when I'm trying to help people. And this is not um, down to nobody. This is just being the truth. I had to beat up several of my workers. Like, and it's like I'm 49 years old. Last year I was 48. So within the past 2 years, I had to beat up like 4 guys. That worked for me. It wasn't like 4 guys on the street. Um, and it's like, yo, I'm a grown man. I'm a businessman. I need to conduct myself as such. But I have some of these guys that were younger. Like I'm like 20 years older than these guys, and guys is acting up, and I'm mashing them out like slapping fire out of dudes and all. It's like, yo, I've been left prison. I've been left the streets. Why I have to do this with some 20-something-year-old guys up there beating these guys up? Like we're in the street. It doesn't make sense. But this is what I was doing. So I'm like, yo, am I gonna end up going back to prison because I'm trying to help these people? I'm trying to help people put some money in their pocket, but they're taking me for granted. Like, for people who know me, what's up, Dion? Hey, Stacy. People that know me, and all right, I just said Dion, I just said Stacy. They both know me. Stacy know me from when I was a kid, from when we was teenagers. Dion know me for like 2 years. But they know different people, so to speak. Stacy knows me from being wild. Dion knows me as working businessman. But Dion has been around me in work situations, and he's seen some of the guys I had working. And he's seen some of the characteristics that they had, some of the poor work ethic that they had. And it's frustrating because I've done stuff. I've had other business owners come and talk to me and tell me, yo, you're doing this wrong. Now, I appreciate critique. I do. But if you don't know my vision, how can you tell me I'm doing it wrong? So my vision may not match up with your vision. That's why I'm doing it this way and you're doing it that way. But I'm going to tell you exactly what he told me. I can't quote him, but I'm going to tell you basically what he told me. He's like, yo, listen, he came to the car wash, got his car washed numerous times, and he's seen me interact with them, so on and so forth. And he said, yo, you're doing this wrong. You're like their friend. You're not supposed to be their friend. He said, what you need to do is you need to fire all of them. You need to start with some fresh guys that you don't know, that you're not cool with, because they laugh and joke with you, they're not going to respect you. Now, I don't remember exactly when he said this, but I do know that most of my physical situations with the guys happened after he told me this, if not all of them. And I said, listen, I treat them like family because I believe that if I go all out for them, they'll go all out for me. That ain't true, but that's what I believed. He didn't agree with me, but he was like, listen, well, I'm just telling you, this is business. You're supposed to keep it business. All right, cool. Now, I have to say that because that goes along with my mindset. Now, if I deal with you and I don't really know you and I don't really care, if you do certain things or it don't work out, I can sever ties with you easily because I didn't invest in you. I didn't invest no time, I didn't invest no energy, I didn't invest no money, Now, there's guys, I'm not going to say any names, but there's guys that I've helped. Here's a classic example. I didn't have to beat this guy up, but here's a classic example. A brother that was coming through, getting his car washed. That's how I met him, getting his car washed, talk to him. Because I used to talk to a lot of the people that we washed in cars. That was my way of showing you, look, I'm a business owner, but I'm somebody that I'm not untouchable. You can talk to me, you can relate to me, we can kick it. Boom. So he was telling me he was going through some hard times and stuff, and he had an issue with his car. His car got stolen, and he got the car back, but he needed to do some things to get it fixed. So he was like, yo, I need some money, man. Yo, can I come work for you? Because I need to pay for this, that, and the third, boom, boom, boom. So I took a walk with him, talked with him, heard him out. Boom. He was like, yo, listen, man, I'll come and I'll work for free just so you could, show me the ropes and this, that, and the third. He said all the right things. So I was like, all right, cool. That's what you want to do? You sure you want to do it? He's like, yeah. So the money that he wanted, I went in my pocket, took it out, gave it to him. He's like, yo, oh my gosh. I thought I was going to have to work for it first. I was like, yo, I expect you to work. But if you're really struggling that much and that badly, boom, take care of it. Now, this is me putting money in his hands before he even worked for me. It was my way of saying, listen, bro, I understand what you're going through. I understand the struggle. Get yourself out of the struggle, and then we go from there. I had another, so he started working at the car wash. I had another situation coming up with my other company, and I told him, you could work here also. So you could do some car wash, and you can do this other thing, so that way you can make money on both my situations. I can get paid back quicker. You can put some money in your pocket as well. Boom. We did that. Now this, unbeknownst to me at the time, was one of the laziest mothers I ever ran across. But I don't know this because I'm just trying to help him. But one of the gigs I did, we went out to Queens, and we had to go. It was a co-op, a big co-op, and we had to go out there, and we had to go in apartments and insecticide. So we doing the insecticide, and every time I turn around, he don't have his gloves on. Like there's certain things you have to have for your own safety. So it's like he don't have this, he don't have that. Boom, boom. So what's up, Daniel? And I'm like, yo, how come you don't have your gloves on? Like he'll touch something with his gloves that he'll like, and then take his gloves off. Like the gloves are supposed to protect you. And I was like, yo, are you OCD? Like, and he was, it's like, yo, you touch something that's dirty with the gloves, get so eked out behind it that he takes the gloves off and throw them away. That's what the gloves are for. The gloves are for you to touch the dirty stuff with. Like you have the mice traps, you have the stuff for the roaches. Boom. Any rate, it started to become frustrating because stuff like that was happening with the pesticide situation, and then the car wash. You start coming late every day. You start, listen, I can't come. I got something going on. And I'll find out certain things, so I know he's lying. So it's like, okay, well, and guys will be talking, and they don't mean to blow him up, but they're just talking. Like they're so used to talking around me that they're not talking to me, but they're talking within my earshot. So it's like, yo, this dude met this chick, blah, blah, blah. He was like, went up to Connecticut. So I hear this. So, all right, he went to Connecticut last night. So that's where he's at. Yo, something came up. Family, see him say, ain't nothing come up. You're in Connecticut. I know where you at. But I ain't blowing up. But it's like, you are taking me so much for granted that you like, yo, I met a shorty last night. I'm going to go to Connecticut. Forget work. He'll understand. I'll just tell him something happened, something came up. And it's like, so I was getting really frustrated with him. Like I said, I didn't put my hands on him. But I was getting really frustrated. There's guys that I am legal. There's guys that work for me. That one dude works for me. Me and him had an argument. He left. I ain't see him no more. I thought he quit. A few days later, his mother comes. I didn't know that this was his mother. Lady pulls up. She asks for me. I'm used to people asking for me. I'm like, how you doing? She's like, oh, you know such and such? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm his mother. He told me to come to you, blah, 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 blah. He's in jail. I said, oh, he's in jail. I said, I thought he quit. Like, she's like, no, he needs bail, or he needs lawyers, something he needed. Bail, or he needed some money. So I was like, no, it was bail. It was bail. So I was like, yo, listen, I don't know, because we had some words. He'd been late all the time, this, that, and the third. Because that's what we had words about. He was late all the time. So, like, nah, it's like, what they got to do with me? Like, I bail him out so he can not come to work. Like, if I bail him out, he owes me. So she was like, well, you lending me the money. So the mother is saying that she's going to be responsible for the money. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to lend you the money. I said, but when he come out, tell him come report to me like I'm his parole officer. I said, because I'm still going to help him set him straight. Now, this is something that you should not forget. That should be noted. I'm 49 now. This was like 2 years ago. And he was 58. He was up north with me. I remember, that's why I actually hired him, because we spoke and all that. And I remembered his face, but I didn't remember from where. And then he reminded me, and it's like, yeah, he's telling the truth. He told me where, and then like, okay, he told me who he used to be with. I remember that. So I'm like, okay, I have a soft spot for the brothers that done time, and I want to uplift them. So I did that. He came out. He came straight to me. He did. She bailed him out. He came to me. And I told him, listen, you go to work. I was like, your mom said she's going to pay it back, but you're still going to give me something. This helps both of us. It helps me with you working, and it helps you because it keeps you out of harm's way, doing trouble. Way of life for him lasted about a week. He came in late, like about a week of harmony, and then he came in late. And he didn't come in just late, 10 minutes late. He came in, I was opening at 9. He came in after 12. So he came in over 3 hours late. Came in, boom, like everything was good. And then, like 10 minutes in, he was like, yo, I'm hungry. I need some lunch. I was like, you should have ate lunch before you came here, or breakfast or something. You came 3 hours late. It's like, and he was nonchalant about it too. He was like, yo, you gonna treat me to lunch? I was like I thought he was making a joke. I was like, are you serious? I'm not treating you to lunch. You should have ate something before you came here. He said, well, a good boss would, now he's saying this in front of the other guys, a good boss would treat his workers to lunch. I was like, a good boss would treat his workers to lunch. I said, well, I guess I'm not a good boss then, because I ain't treat you to lunch. I was like, but would a good boss bail a person out of jail? It ain't got nothing to do with it. I was like, there's times that I've taken the whole staff out to eat. And I'm not talking about lunch, I'm talking about after work. There's times when I ordered something in the middle of the day for everybody. And so let me give on my own timeline. Do not try to force me to give or con me to give. So when I said that about me bailing him out, he got offended. He left. His mama called me about 20 minutes later. She said, I shouldn't have threw that up in his face. I said, listen, he shouldn't have came in 3 hours late and started talking about he want lunch and I should buy it for him. She did not. She acted like what I said that he did was minor and what I did was major. I was like, well, listen, I don't remember my exact words, but it was basically like, yo, you don't have to come back. I don't want it back. I just want my money. So just pay me back the money, and that's it, because I don't need to deal with him. Long story short, I got paid back, and he went to jail again. And when he went to jail again, I heard his sister came to the car wash. She didn't mention it. I didn't mention it. Like, I didn't ask about him. I already knew. I guess she thought that I was going to ask about him, and then she can tell me, and then, no, we're not. Bro, like I said, I have a thing, a bleeding heart for the brothers. I want to help the struggle. But if you want to take advantage of a brother, I ain't the one. You know, no. I'll help you if I can. You want to take advantage of that? Like, every time you throw a brick, you gonna holler at me? No, that's all right. And then when you come out, because that's not the only person I bailed out. I bailed out multiple dudes. And it's like, yo, you love me when you first get out. Or like a dude got locked up, you got 90 days, he needed some money, I sent him some money. I'm the man, yo, thank you for looking out, blah, 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 blah. And then 2 weeks later, you forget about that, and you back to cutting corners, trying to get over, and all that. It's like, it's amazing how people have short-term memory, and it makes people not want to do for them. Another brother that worked for me. I'm not saying no names, but he had substance issues. I went on vacation for my anniversary this year, August. My anniversary is in August. So most Augusts, I'm going to go on some type of vacation. He got hired on a job, acted a total fool. It was videoed. So I got the video, I saw it, talked to him. I've done videos where I said that I was told by someone that addiction is a disease. And I went through that. This was from him, like, yo, it's a disease. Like, he was basically justifying the crap that he was doing as saying like it's a disease, he can't help it. And he had a situation where he lost his phone. So he says, I put insurance on it, but he lost his phone. He couldn't get it insured, whatever. Sounding like that sounds like he sold your phone. Any rate, his birthday was coming up. I made an agreement with him. I was like, listen, I have a couple of projects going on. So work with me on this project, work with me on this project, work with me on this. Boom. I'm going to make sure you have a phone and some money in your pocket. So I helped him out. This is not our total agreement. I'm just giving you like the gist of it. So I was like, the birthday coming up, he didn't have no phone. And there were certain things that I wanted him to be involved with that he could not be involved with because he didn't have a phone. You got to be able to communicate, get in touch with you, because if you're not standing by my side, I need to communicate with you. So anyway, long story short, got him the phone. I have multiple cars, and I have some vehicles that actually people drive. Like, you driving this to do your little thing, you take your passengers here, you got your little clientele, you make some money, I make some money. Try to put them on for that, because I took the car back from somebody else who's supposed to be doing it, and he messed around. So had him do it. He messed up. So I'm like, yo, listen, I got something else to do. I took the call back. Um, I was calling him. He didn't answer his phone, going straight to voicemail. He started saying, "Oh, my phone wasn't charged, this, that, and the third." I'm like, "Listen, man, you need to have your phone charged. You need to be more responsible." Um, I was like, I should be the person that you answer the phone for. Like I helped you. Like you should always answer the phone for me or always call me back because I'm not the one that I don't just call people to say how you doing, ha 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 he he he. No, my family is one thing. I'm just talking about my associates and all that. I can say how you're doing, so on and so forth, but then I have a bigger picture, like, listen, I got this job for you to do, boom, boom, boom. So he took that as if I was throwing it up in his face that I got the phone for. I was like, well, I thought about it because I got tight. I thought about it, spoke to him the next day. I said, you're right. You're right. I did bring that up. I did throw that up in your face, and I shouldn't do that. I was wrong for that. I was like, but what happens is I've done so much for you, and you've done for me also, because he has. I said, I've done so much for you. I helped you with jobs. I helped you with this. I helped you with that. And I just be feeling like people take advantage of me, not just you, a lot of people. So it's gotten to that point. And this is this year. This is within the past couple of months. We had this conversation. This was like late November. So this is like recent stuff. I'm like, yo, I felt like people have been taking advantage of me. It's been stressful. Uh, Money doesn't buy you happiness because I've been making money and been going through stresses as well. I'm not no multimillionaire, but I'm just saying you can be doing the best ever in your situation and still not totally be happy. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? In order to remedy my situation and your situation, so I don't be feeling like I'm being used and I won't throw nothing in your face. I'm not gonna do for you no more. So therefore, I don't feel like I'm being used, and then I have nothing to throw in your face. So it solves both our problems. He got mad. He got upset rather, because he was he got upset. He's like, yo, I'm taking that as offense. I said, well, what can you do? I don't have to do nothing for you. And if I'm throwing stuff in your face and that's not my intention, I'm gonna nip all that in the bud. I won't feel used. You won't feel like I'm throwing stuff in your face. Boom. And that made me feel better. On Christmas Eve, I wanted to spend some time with my family at their house. And he lives in the neighborhood. So he called me. He was like, yo, he wanted me to take him somewhere. And I was contemplating that. Then I thought about it. I was like, no, hold on a second. This was for me to come spend some time with my family. Me and him's cool. Like, we call him family. I was like, no, but I'm not here for him. So I texted him back. I was like, yo, spend the time with my family. Then I called him. I said, listen, um, I'm not going to do that because if I take away from my time with my family and go do something for you, and then next thing you know, you don't do something, like I might throw it up in your face. So I'm not doing it. So I can't throw it up in your face. He didn't like it, but he had to respect it because it solved my stress. I'm not going to sit here and run from my family. I'm spending time with friends. You call me, oh, I run, take care, help you out. The next thing you know, when I need something, you don't run and take care of what? No, hell no. I'm not going to do that. And a lot of times that's the way I felt. I felt like, yo, guys need me. And some guys been in some situations, like, okay, boom, you need me. I got you. I'm there. And boom. In the situations I need you, it ain't all that. So in comparison, on a serious scale, it's not all that. You need somebody to bail you out. I'm there. I need someone to help me pull this job. I need 5 people. I need someone to help me pull this job off. To you, it's not as important as getting out of jail, and I understand that. But if I have a job that I have to do, that I need a certain amount of people, that's important to me. I need to get this done. So they don't give the proper weight to my situations. Their situations is, that's mad important. Drop what you're doing. When I have a situation, no one wants to drop what they're doing. So it's like, okay, cool. You're too busy for me, so I'm gonna start being busy because I don't have to fake. I'm busy often. So you call me, I got something else to do. I can always find something else to do. But that's not hard. So there you have it. Left, you go do your thing. However you need to get there, you can get there. But I'm gonna spend some time with my family. I was talking about 25 ways to make 25K. So what's up? Um, I've been looking to expand business. What's up, Onika? You want to talk to me? 25 ways to make 25K? You want to come on camera and tell me about business you do? Because you get money. Okay, can't bring you on the camera for whatever reason. Boom. Um, I'm gonna give you a little shine. Some of the people know me that's already on here anyway. Um, Onika has a beauty salon in Harlem, 145th Street. Um, uh, she does my locks at times. She does um, hair weaves. What do you call that? Fronts. I don't know what they call it. Something in the front. uh, the sewing. I'm not good with that. Indian hair. I'm not good, so I'm messing it up. But she dyes hair. She weaves. She does wigs. That's one thing I've seen, the multiple wigs she does. And a good grade of hair. I don't know all the types of hair, but it's good grade hair. Check her out. Authentic. What is it? Put text your thing up there. The name. You're looking, so text the name so that I can say it because I forgot. I know it's authentic instead of authentic, so I know it's a play on the authentic. But I want to be able to talk to the individuals, and it's cool if I know you because it shows that I do know a couple of people that's about something, trying to get their money right, their business right, their future together. Because a lot of us wait too late to try to get straight. I had a talk with a cousin of mine yesterday, and the cousin that was doing this with me. Um, I bought my wife a car for Christmas, SUV, and so I had it posted, and people saw it. He saw it. He called me, he was congratulating me. He was like, "Yeah, you did it again." Boom. Um, you be making moves and make it seem like a lot of us wasted time out here that didn't do time. And I appreciated his candidness about it. But I'm like, listen, if you know better, you do better. So it's not about you sitting there wasting time like you know. It's one thing to know something and don't do it. Now you're really accountable because you knew, you didn't do. If you don't know something, you don't even know the opportunities you miss because you don't know, you're naive. When you know something, then you are able to see the opportunities that you're missing because you are aware enough to see them and to be able to capitalize on them. I was pointing those things out to him. I said, when we did the t-shirt thing, we gave it a go. It didn't work. You don't just stop though. Because I ain't stopped. This wasn't even my thing. It was me trying to put him on because I already had something going on. I was already doing the car wash. I was already doing my other business with the landscaping and stuff. So I had to grow the other business. The car wash, I bought a business that was already clicking. So it was like, okay, it already had clientele, it already had this. It was already making money. I had to grow my other business from the ground up. Now, here's the thing. I know people who have hustles. Now, I'm going to make clear what I mean by hustle. You can have a job and you work your job 7 to 3, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever. Your routine, you're doing it. All right, cool. Now you have a hustle, whereas you do it when you want to do it. Meaning, it might be something that you're doing to supplement your income, only on weekends. It might be something that you say, okay, I'm going to make a few dollars in the evenings. It's not my bread and butter, but it helps to supplement my income, maybe help to pay some bills, or to be able to get me some free extra spending money. All right. Now, you have people who would do what another person would call a hustle, but that is their bread and butter. For instance, doing Uber. I know some people who do Uber as a side thing. They have their 9 to 5, the evenings or the weekends, they knock it out. Uber used to be my bread and butter. It wasn't no hustle. It was my gig. Like that's what I did. Like um, I didn't do it 9 to 5. I did it. I had my time that I did it. My actual time that I was doing it when I first started was 5 to 10. I was doing 5 hours a day. Well, that was my little shift because I would get start off before the peak time come in. That's where you make the most money and go off to 10 o'clock. Um, so me using the term hustle, I'm not trying to actually put a specific uh, field or whatever you're doing as hustle. Because like I said, someone can do Uber Eats as a hustle. Someone can do Uber Eats as their moneymaker. So it just depends on how much energy you focus on it. Point blank. So my thing, highlighting saying 25 ways to make 25K is that some people can take what they start off as a hustle and put more energy into it or tweak it in one way or another. And next thing you know, they're making money where they no longer look at it as a hustle. It's like, yo, listen, this is my business or this is my primary cash flow. Like, so there's certain things, t-shirts can be. I know people that do t-shirts, that's what they do. That's their business. I know people who do t-shirts, that's a hustle. They do it on the side. They do it seasonally. Like summertime come, we're gonna do some t-shirts and stuff. Well, so do not let the next person designate what you're doing as a hustle or it's your business. You dictate the flow of what you do. And I'm a firm believer in that because um, most of the stuff that I and put myself into doing, I may look at it as a hustle in a sense when I'm starting to do it. Like, listen, I'm gonna tap into this and see what happens. But my overall long-term goal is to make it into something that a revenue stream. And I'm gonna use that term revenue stream because sometimes when I would use the word hustle in my mind, and I'm sure that other people's mind, it's like diminishes from it. Like, okay, that's not really important. I'm saying revenue stream because I'm letting you know it's just as important as anything else. You're just creating another stream of income coming in because in order to generate wealth, you need to have multiple revenue streams because the average person, they have bills. So if you're making some money, money going up somehow. Life, like in insurance. If you have a business, you're supposed to have insurance. Not all businesses have insurances because some businesses they'll do work from home or they'll do certain things, whereas excuse me, they'll do certain things whereas it really doesn't require them to get insurance. If you selling online products, doing drop shipping, you don't need no insurance. There may be instances where insurance would be helpful, but you don't need it. um, if you are driving somebody, you need insurance. If you are a one-man uh, business and you're cutting somebody's grass, do you need insurance? No, you don't need insurance. But it may come a time or circumstances where you wish you had it. Because when you put yourself on somebody else's property, things can happen. Like it could be something as simple as sometimes people have sprinkler systems that pop up out the ground. I have it myself. So sprinkler systems pop up out the ground. You could be mowing the lawn and you could damage it. That just seems simple enough. Like don't seem like nothing big deal. But depending on what you hit, of course it has to be repaired. And depending on, you know, how much you damage, the price can dramatically change. And it may be something that requires a decent amount of money that you don't want to just pay out of pocket. Or the person may make an issue out of it and ask you if you have insurance. Here's another one. Um, I had, it was a co-op in Harlem. I had a potential job. I was on Home Advisor. I'm no longer on Home Advisor Pro, but I was on Home Advisor. Oh, matter of fact, I didn't even get that from Home Advisor. I have some real estate friends, and one of them knew somebody that it was an estate. Someone died. The heir was taking over the co-op to sell it, but they wanted the property and stuff cleaned out. Now, in order to come and do the clean out, the company had to provide insurance. And this is because if a person is moving furniture in these buildings and through this elevator, so on and so forth, they may damage something unintentionally, but they may damage something. And they want to see that you are covered in the event that you do that. Uh, Under Home Advisor, I had a contract with a condominium complex. And in order to get that, I had to provide proof of insurance, proof of workers' comp. I had to provide those things. So it depends on what type of situation you're entering. You may need insurance. Um, if you're going to work online, then that's a different story. But when you have to put on your boots and leave the place and go somewhere to do something, more than likely you're going to need some type of insurance. And like I said, some of the better paying gigs is going to require you to have insurance. And I had $1 million, not had, I have, because I still have the business and I still have the coverage. Got $1 million. They got what is called E&O, errors and omissions. You make a mistake, or you do something wrong, or you forget to do something. Error, you do something wrong. Omission, you forgot to do something that you should have done, and still causes damage. So, for instance, I'm going to give you an example of an omission. Let's just say you're doing something. This is not my field, but I'm just giving you an example that anybody can understand. You're doing a stove, a gas stove, and you forgot to turn off the gas when you was removing the stove. That can cause a fire. So you omitted, meaning you didn't do it. You didn't turn off the gas. That's also an error, but you didn't do something, so it's an omission. When you look at it, definitive of the word, the definition, an omission meaning you didn't do something, didn't turn off the gas, which resulted in an explosion. Boom. An explosion could end up being a costly situation, and depending on where you at and how much damage, it could really go up there. And a lot of us hardworking people don't just walk around with $1 million in their pocket or $1 million in their bank. And when you're dealing with home improvement and construction, all that, the numbers go up quick. They go up quick. Like you have to tear down a wall and re-put up walls and electricity, plumbing pipes, all that stuff. If you watch some of these fix and flip shows and all that, and you see how they start running those numbers up when they putting stuff, those numbers can go up quick. And if you're grinding and you don't have it like that, and you're working on step your game up and step your numbers up, and something like that happen, it can ruin you. If you don't have insurance, it can ruin you. It can put you straight out of business, straight into bankruptcy. Because and you got to have your companies registered the proper way in order to separate yourself from the company. Johnny Bunton Jr. is my name, but Black Wall Street Private Lenders Corporation is one of my companies, which is a corporation. It's separate from me. That's dealing with lending out money, connecting people with money, lenders with clients, and get money. Anything happens, and if anything should happen where there's a lawsuit with that company, is dealing with that company, not me. I haven't done anything to require me to get sued. I'm just using that as an example. My crime residential services, same thing. I'm doing these landscaping things. I'm doing interior clean outs. If something goes wrong, you got to take it up with that business, because that's part of Bunting Enterprises Inc. And that's a corporation. Has nothing to do with me. So anything, I'm an employee of both those corporations. I'm an employee of a lot of things, but it may be my business, but I'm an employee at that business. So any issues, you don't sue me as a person. You got to sue the business. Just using that as an example, because I don't have a bunch of people trying to sue me. I'm just using that as an example of, if you have your own business, you want to make it as an LLC, which means limited liability company, or as a corporation, which in essence creates a barrier between the person and the business. They got something that's called pierce the corporate veil, which means if you do certain things, it pierces the corporate veil, which the veil that separates the person from the company, the corporation, and it allows them to merge. One great example of piercing the corporate veil is if you commingle your money and the corporation's money. So if you fail to get a bank account for your business and you just put the money into your personal account, then who knows whose money is who? So if there's an issue, it's like, yo, listen, we can't even attack the corporation because corporation has no bank account. All the money that the corporation makes is going to your personal account. So we got to sue you. We got to come to you for it. You don't want to do that. Some of these things are so easy to mess up. It is. Because especially when you're first starting off and you don't really have the money like that. You may actually be borrowing money from yourself to begin with. And if that is the case, the smarter thing to do is whatever you're borrowing from yourself, put it into the corporate account at the head of the game. Like, okay, listen, I need $10,000. Let me take it out of my personal account, put it in the corporate account, and start working from there. As the need arises or as you feel you're more comfortable, you can start paying yourself back. And you can even start paying yourself back with a check so that there's a record of that you paid yourself. And that's an expense that the corporation is undertaking. So that when it comes time for taxes, you have an accountant of where the money went. I actually was waiting for somebody to come on so we can kick it, but I don't know what happened. He was supposed to. Let me check. Give me a pause a second. What to do? So if he comes, he comes. If not, we kick it some more. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, Antoine, what's up, Antoine? Anybody else want to ask me some questions? Feel free to ask me some questions. And we can go from there. But like I said, 25 ways to make 25K. I'm gonna start seeking out more people to build with, and I don't want to be just straight up asking questions. I will ask questions, but I don't want to be just straight up. I want to allow people to be able to just talk about themselves. About what they do. And talk about what they do, be able to just introduce yourself, say what you're known for, or what have you, and go from there. You got to see a little bit better. Okay, well, trying to get the connection going. I don't know if it's my connection or his connection. Oh, okay. It said no answer, but it's still answer. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Force?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just finished eating. I was trying to plug in with you earlier, but somehow, the technology wasn't cooperating.
No, that's my fault. I saw it, but I just put my glasses on. I saw it, but I know more than one Daniel. So I
Ah,
thought another one. So I'm like, I'm waiting for you. And I'm like, yo, now I'm like, hold on a second. Look, that's him. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I was just, listening to you drop a bunch of jewels, you know what I mean? On the business tip. So real valuable, you know?
let me start off first by asking you to introduce yourself and tell me some of the things about you, things that you have done. Like, give me a little, anybody that watches, give them a little bit about you. Introduce yourself and give a little background.
Okay, well, I'm Danny Sims, and I'm the founder of 40 Million and a Tool. 40 Million and a Tool is a wealth building movement uh, beckoning my fellow African Americans, Black folk in America, to join together and build some wealth so that we can have financial freedom finally in this country. So I uh, I published a book by the same title um, about 15, 16 years ago, 40 Million and a Tool, and it's still available on Amazon, online retailers. But I wouldn't advise anyone to go and purchase a copy because it is pretty much outdated now. Um, there's a lot of things in there that really don't apply. Like for instance, with 40 million in the tool, um, we need to put together a leadership council to handle the major parts of the wealth building movement in terms of generating wealth, managing the wealth, investing the wealth, and distributing the wealth. So I had um, I had suggested a group of people back then when I published the book, but most of them are past now. You know, like for instance, Brother Earl Graves, he used to publish Black Enterprises.
Right.
I had him, and our sister who just passed recently, Bell Hooks. I had suggested her being part of the leadership council as well. I had Bill Cosby. So over the years, a lot of circumstances have changed a little bit, and our perceptions and attitudes towards some of our people have changed as well. So um, that's why I wouldn't suggest anyone go and purchase the book online because a lot of the information, a lot of the uh, things are a little outdated, but the bulk of the book is still very relevant. So what I've done is I've updated some of the essays in the book and made them available for free on the website 40millionandatool.com. So no one has to spend any money, going to Amazon to buy the book itself. I mean, it'll help me, put money in my pocket, but I'm asking people not to do that. So because they can get the essays for free and in an updated fashion, because with the events around the George Floyd murder, the Breonna Taylor and all these things that's been swirling around the last few years, those are the exact same things that I was talking about back then. You know, um, the things that have historically been happening to us as a people in terms of murder. you know, um, that's been a nonstop affair. Ever since we've been in this country. So that's pretty much has been my passion since then. So now, with the advent of social media and the innovations in the technology, with Facebook, the Instagram, and YouTube, things like that, I decided to create online presence for 40 million in a tool and just put the content there for people to go and check out themselves. And if they want to support this movement and be a part of it, then I'm happy to share that we are on those social media platforms. 40 million in a tool on YouTube, 40 million in a tool on Instagram, 40 million in a tool Facebook page, and 40 million in a tool.com, the website itself. So right now, I'm living upstate New York, and but I grew up in the 5 boroughs, but I've been up this way for about 25 years now, maybe a little more. And so I find I found my wife up here, and it's a slowed down pace, but I'm sitting right between Buffalo and Rochester, so I can still get a taste of city life, anytime I want to. If a group comes through or something, like I caught the Whispers in Buffalo and things like that, so I can still go ahead and partake of things that relate to my upbringing. But for the most part, I'm okay with the laid back lifestyle. Everything is slowed down to a nice pace that's manageable. My kids are grown and gone. I got 2 sons. They got children of their own. One's still down in Queens, one out in Texas. So it's basically, I'm retired. I worked for a number of years as a drug and alcohol counselor in Rochester, and also did some consulting, in the anti-violence movement. So, I could still do some of those things if called upon, or if, the need arises. But for the most part, I'm pretty much retired, just laying back, ducking and dodging this COVID and this Omicron and this Delta and any other variant they put out there. I'm bobbing and weaving. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I turned 67 next month. Got that high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. I don't even want. It's like when we was growing up. We experimented with a lot of things, particularly like getting high. Smoking weed, or sniffing some blow, or things like that. And it was like I hear about that crack and the stories, that people would tell. And that's the one thing I'm saying, I don't even want to try that. If those stories are true, I don't even want to try that. And so, that's kind of my approach to, this COVID situation and all that. I got my little shots, I'm boosted up and all that good stuff. But, they got the breakthrough infections and things like that, you still can get it. And I'm like, I don't even want to chance it. I don't care how boosted up and vaccinated I am. I still don't want to get it. You know what I mean? So, because I'm vulnerable. And so that's how I look at that. But to each his own, when it comes to things like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Putting a lot of time into that. And like I said, my thing is this: I want my people to check out the content, check out the information, and if it resonates with them, then every way of possible to get involved or to contact us, is right there on the website. And, right there, you can, if people nowadays, really know how to navigate their social media and they're savvy, with the smartphones and the computers and tablets and everything. So one links to the other. You know, in fact, if they start out from the website, 40millionandthetwo.com, there's links to all the other social media content. You know, there's a Facebook link right there on the homepage, the YouTube link, an Instagram link. Um, so, you know, that way they can get back to me, you know, and then we could go from there, you know. But yeah, I'm glad you gave me this opportunity, you know, to you know, give a little brief introduction of who I am and what I'm doing. I mean, obviously there's more to me, you know, than just that, because I got a lot of years under my belt, you know, and you know, you and I, we've known each other for a great number of years, you know, 20 years or more, you know, so there's there's a lot of stories to tell. You know, there's a lot of you know, experiences, you know, under the bridge. So you know, those things, you know, can unfold you know, as time goes on. You know, because if I can extend myself to a brother, you know, or a sister or family, you know, a situation, and be helpful in that regard, uh, because of the experiences that I've had, you know, and places that I've been, things like that. Uh, you know, I'm an open book with that also, but it's not what I lead with. You know what I mean? Those things are not the first things that I step forward with because, you know, people formulate opinions and misconceptions and you know, things like that. So uh, my best foot forward right now is 40 million and the two, uh, because the time is of the essence right now. We are under attack. I mean, we've always been under attack, but you know, my last video that I put up on YouTube, you know, is entitled "We're Not Safe," and you know, just briefly, what I conveyed in that was that those same that same crowd.
What happened? I got to bring him back. I don't know if he hit the hang up button by accident. Well, let's see what happens. Will he return? Will he come back? Was he tracked down and packed up by the man, by the big brother? Was he about to reveal something that would change our lives? And they stopped him. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. How can we answer these questions? Stay tuned. I remember I used to watch Batman, and it was the TV show, not the cartoon. And at the end of it, they'll have questions like that. Is this the end? We'll see on the next. We're like, uh, so, so let's see what happens. He just said he wanted to come back, so he's alive. They didn't track him down and hack him to death because he's about to tell us about the man and how they have us between a rock and a hard place. But it's taken a moment, you know, maybe a connection issue. That's taken a minute to get him. But bear with us because it says it's adding. It says it's adding. And the brother's pretty deep. He's intellectual. Got me by some years. But him and I met each other a minute ago. It's been a pretty long time. No answer. Last time it said that he popped up. So Well, let's see. Still,
Okay,
I just
we
want
back.
to make sure, man, after you have in the
No,
middle of your conversation.
listen, man. These algorithms are something else, man. You know what I mean? Uh, uh, Censoring is definitely in effect on these platforms. But what I was going to say is that, I want people to go and check out the content. But what I was trying to convey, and we're not safe, is that that same crowd of people that we all saw scaling the walls of the United States Capitol, breaking up in that spot, you know what I'm saying, bringing Confederate flags in there with them and nooses and things like that. That same crowd of people are inches away from controlling the levers of power in this country. And if they get a hold of the government in a full-throated way, listen, our people should never forget that we are the default target of white supremacy and people who, bring that kind of hate and that kind of violence into the picture. Um, and so that's basically what I was trying to convey. And we need to be paying attention to what's going on around us, and especially in the political world now, because I'll give you one little example is what they did out in Texas or down in Georgia with the new voting rights laws, where uh, they came up with a law that says uh, you can't give somebody a bottle of water if they're standing out in the burning heat online for hours just waiting to vote. You walk up on them and say, excuse me, sir, it could be an elderly person or whatever. You look kind of thirsty, or, here, come on and hydrate yourself. You're getting arrested. You're going to jail. Now you sit back and you say, damn, who thinks up things like this? Who think up something like that and then make it a law, right? And so what I'm saying in my video is the same crowd that came up with a law that said you can't drink out this water fountain, or you can't enter into this door, go around the back. That's the same. Count these jelly beans in a jar before we let you vote. Recite the preamble. Pay the poll tax. The same crowd of people is the ones who come up with these silly type of things. And so we need to realize it can happen again, because it's happening right before our very eyes already. And if they get up in there in the presidency and the Congress, the Senate and the House Representatives, and they can sit up in a room and make a law, don't think that they're not coming for us. They're coming for the LGBTQ community. They're coming for immigrants. They're coming for anybody who's on their hit list that they, feel like is taking America away from them. And for them, it's an existential threat. You know what I mean? For other people, it's like democracy in action, and we all inclusive, and we all Americans, and let's let everybody live. There's a lot of people out there who do not believe that, and will go to any lengths to prevent that from happening. And that's what we saw when we watched the people climb up in that Capitol on January 6th.
I actually have some questions for you, but before I ask any questions, I want to lead off with a statement by saying that you were an inspiration to me to publish my first book, because I met you when I was in the midst of putting that together, and you had something published. So you gave me some information that helped me along those lines where I was trying to get things done, and I didn't forget that. So, and I'm giving you your props for anyone to see, because you kept it real and you didn't try to sell me nothing. Because a lot of times people say the game is supposed to be sold, not told. I don't believe
Mhm.
that. If you have some information that can help me and you freely give it to me, you actually make me feel more indebted to you than that I just paid you a price. Because I believe that by you giving me that, you've actually gained more from me than you would have had you sold it to me. Because I might not have been your friend.
Right, right. Well, I accept that in the spirit in which it's given, um, and I feel honored to have been one of the first to read the earliest transcript of Sons of Solomon.
Yeah. That's right.
So I enjoyed that. I look forward to the sequel, and you know, I think that was a good springboard and a jumping off point for you, later on.
So the title, 40 million in the tool, I know what that reminds me of, but where did you get that from?
Well, it sounds similar to 40 Acres and a Mule, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And it's really uh, turning that inside out. What happened was, some years ago, the whole reparations debate was heating up again on college campuses, because, students generally are the tip of the spear when it comes to social movements and organizations trying to make people aware of things, like even the Vietnam War, way back in the 60s. It was the student movements that drove those movements, and brought that into the public domain as the dominant discussion. And so this was around uh, actually the turn of the century, 1999 going into 2000, the turn of the 21st century, I should say. Um, and the reparations debate was heating up on the college campuses. And I just was contemplating, I was like, we got a new millennium rolling in, and internet was still relatively new to a lot of people. And they were talking about the digital divide and how Black people would be left behind if they can't get internet access and be online, because everything is moving from the brick and mortar realm into the online, and the superhighway of the computer. So I was just contemplating, like, what's in store for our people, with all these new innovations and all these things happening. And now we're moving into a whole new, millennium. So this was like 99 going into 2000, 2001. And I'm paying attention to this reparations debate heating up. And, it always goes back and forth. Yeah, Black people should get reparations. Oh man, listen, I had nothing to do with slavery. My people was immigrants. And that's what it does. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. So I'm thinking, I'm tossing it back, and I'm tossing this phrase, 40 acres and a mule, over in my head. And then I got some information about the census, because they do the census every 10 years. And so the 2000 census was approaching. And I read something where it said that Black people in America was approaching 40 million people. And so I said, okay. And I thought about that in this digital divide and the awesome power of the internet and information technology. And in that process, the phrase 40 million and a tool popped into my head. The tool being the internet, information technology, and what can be done with that. And so for me, 40 acres and a mule became old hat. 40 million in a tool became the new thing, because what it does is it propels us and serves in a real cathartic way, for us to get back to the unfinished business of our ancestors, of building wealth as a people. We've proven that we can do that. People always talking about, the Black Wall Streets and Rosewood and other Black communities that were thriving, and, jealous, racist white folks, wasn't having it, come through, burn it down, kill people. And it's like, hold up. Why do we keep reciting history and talking about what happened, what was done? We all know the story. What happened to us getting back to the business of building wealth, wealthy communities, wealthy neighborhoods, now, especially when we got all this technology and all this capability at our fingertips? You got things that came along like this crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, GoFundMe, and then the politicians are raising up to $1 billion in their war chest just to run and win a political office. And these are all small dollar donations coming from people all over the country. So I'm saying, hold up. If we 40 million strong and we got all these tools at our disposal that we can use, shit, then it won't take but like $5 from each of us, on a monthly basis. And we can grow and build and be wealthy in no time if we was to buckle down, and get with a program like that. So that's how the phrase 40 million in a tool came about. I'm just running with it and trying to, we just launched the website in August. August 31st, we launched. So, and then I had to, set up all the social media platforms, had to, register the name, purchase the logo, and really just like put it together, because when our people embrace something like this, there's got to be apparatus that can support the volume that's going to come. That phrase in the movie where it said, "If you build it, they will come."
Right.
Well, we in the process of building that. So we launched the website August, got the social media platforms, page and channel with that. We got the EIN number, the employee identification number from the IRS, so we registered there, and the fund itself is already set up and going.
Okay, well, that basically leads to my next question, and I'm gonna prelude it by saying that I started Black Wall Street Private Lenders Corporation last year, in the heart of the pandemic, when everybody was wondering what was going to happen, how we were going to make money, and everything. I was on a Facebook group. It was a large Facebook group of our people, and I was going by the conversation that was in there, like, this is what we're gonna do. Everybody was worried, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I said, listen, well, somebody needs to get together and we pool some funds and make some things happen.
Right.
And a lot of people liked what I said. And they was like, but who's going to do it? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do it? I was like, I'll do it. I don't have no problem doing it.
Right.
So I set it up. I told people I had it. I'm not going to sit here and say 1 million people flooded to it, because they didn't. But some people have came to it because I'm a loan broker. So I can help people to get funds. So some people have come, but the bad thing is a lot of people want money, they need money, but they're
Right.
not able to get money. So, you know, it's not like we're on the street. If we're on the street and you come up to me and you ask me for $10, I can give it to you just because. I got extra $10. I might not never get this back, but here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Walk up to somebody on the street and ask for $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, and they don't know your name. They don't know your history. They don't know your abilities.
Right.
So the thing, these people want money, but they don't have a history of getting money. So they're not credit worthy. Um, and so I'm saying all this to say is, what is your vision? Like, how do you envision it? Because evidently my vision, I wasn't prepared to put it all together as of yet. So what is your vision? Maybe I can see your vision clearly and maybe we can collaborate, or maybe some other people. It gives people more credibility and gives them something to believe in, because if they can see what you're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
you perceive it, you believe it, you can achieve it. So let's build a picture that we can perceive and believe in.
Okay. So uh, here's the vision of 40 million in the two. Um, when we talk about giving, uh, Black people give to every cause imaginable except themselves. Black people give to cancer research, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, uh, the children's fund, any kind of cause. And especially if it directly affects them. Like I see, like Cedric said, the entertainer, I see him do commercials on diabetes, uh, treatments, and then come to find out his dad suffered from diabetes, and so it touched him. It was something that comes from his heart, and
Right.
so Black people have no problem giving. That we give every Sunday at church. We give a little bit of our money to any cause that you can mention, or think of. And what 40 million in the two envisions is that Black people uh, getting back to the business of building wealth as a people. So give to ourselves. And so the what we call it is self-reparations, right? So 40 million in the two is the overarching umbrella apparatus. And the subtitle, which was also the subtitle of the book when I published it, No More Waiting, No More Begging. We've been at this reparations thing over 155 years now, thinking, hoping, praying, begging the United States government to all of a sudden, have a come to Jesus moment and say, you know what, we owe these Black people so much money. Uh, it, it it ain't enough money in the world to really pay them for all that was done to them, but we gonna do something. And we've been holding on to that type of sentiment or expected sentiment for far too long. And what we're saying is that, yeah, the government owes, because the government was directly responsible for a lot of things that deprived Black people from the ability to build wealth and be free and unfettered, to go on and do it for themselves, because we've already proven we can do it. Um, leaving slavery aside, that's the big thing, but the whole thing with Jim Crow was about, well, if I can't have you as my slave anymore, you're going to live, poor, under my foot, and having nothing. You can't come here. You can't drink here. You can't do this. You can't do that. That's what Jim Crow was all about, was holding us down. So that's a whole nother payment thing that could be factored into what's owed Black people. And so what 40 million to, what we're saying is this: listen, um, we know that there's a debt. Randall Robinson wrote his book entitled The Debt, and he laid it out. You got people right now. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates, this brother who was at the congressional hearing on trying to get reparations as some type of thing to study. And I'm like, hold up, study? The same bill that John Conyers, Representative Conyers, before he passed, he used to bring that up every year since 1988, just to get the House representatives to vote to say, yeah, we're going to study the question of reparations. And I'm like, there's nothing to study. There's nothing to study. But see, that's their way of inching along towards getting to the final goal, which is having some United States president make a tearful apology, and then the coffers of the United States Treasury open up to Black people, and we finally get those reparations. That is a myth. That is never going to happen, and that's what we believe. And so, although we acknowledge that there is a debt that should be paid, what we're saying is, listen, there's brothers out there, there's lawyers out there who are getting at the government and putting together these briefs and making these arguments. I'm saying, in the meantime, we need to get back to doing something for ourselves. We need to get back to that Black Wall Street mentality, that Marcus Garvey mentality, that Elijah Muhammad mentality, that whole do for self mentality. We've left that behind or put it to the side, waiting and hoping and praying that somebody hand us a paycheck or give us some kind of reparations in some form, fashion, or another. And I'm saying that's all well and cool. If it ever comes, I'll take mine. Let me get that. But I'm not holding my breath anymore for that. And none of us should, especially with all the ways in which we can generate and give wealth to ourselves. I give like examples, and people will look at it and say, you know what, that's very simplistic, but it's happening. Like, for instance, Black people can make, let's say you want to pursue some music, right? And you might not even be, as talented or, competent and all that. But if Black people got together and said, you know what, hold up, he gonna go in the studio, make a record. It could be trash, it could be garbage. But guess what? Let's all buy it anyway.
Right.
It ain't gonna cost us but $10, $15 buy the CD. Buy it, throw it in the garbage can. Don't even listen to it. But buy it anyway. And now we done got a brother paid. Let a brother rap and get on the record, and he don't have to do nothing but mumble. If 500,000 of us, 2 million of us just bought it, oh, wait a minute, hold up. We already doing that. My bad, that's already being done. But there's, small dollar donations. I tend to shy away from the Sunday morning, pass the plate aspect of it. But my mother, she did that her entire life, and it may have enriched the preacher, but she died penniless. So I'm saying, if we can give of our meager resources a little bit here at a time and direct it towards a particular individual or a particular cause, we can enrich that individual, and we can enrich that cause. It just, all it takes is that unity of purpose that we once had and that we displayed to the world. So self-reparations is the vision in which this could get done. And $5 a month, if we would all commit to $5 a month, and listen, it wouldn't even take all of us, because you know, when you talk about 40 million people, you have to account for the fact that, well, there's, you know, children involved in that number. So you're not asking a child, you know, to cough up no kind of paper. But even a quarter of that number, if just 10 million of us adults could get down with something like that and stick to it, do the math. Do the math. 10 million people, $5 a month, consistently, 3 to 5 years. There's some paper there. That's why the next component after that is calling for a trusted and competent leadership council of Black people that have already demonstrated that they can make money, generate wealth, keep it, manage it, and know about management investments. You know, I think about that brother Damon John, who's on Shark Tank. You know, he knows about, like, we all don't have to know about the world of high finance and what to do with money. We have people, you know, among us who are very, very competent and skilled in that way. You know, people who can give inspiration to a movement like this, you know, who would just speak on it, who would encourage our people, you know, who would say, I support this and you should too. So we need those influencers. You know, we live in a time now of influencers. You know, somebody who might have a mega platform, and if they say, yeah, I suggest we do this, or, you know, you look into this, or whatever, you know, you got millions of people running and doing it. That's power. That's power. You know, and we didn't have these tools back then in 1921, you know, with Black Wall Street. You know, it probably still was running Pony Express. You know, you had to wait a week and a half to get your mail or something. But yet they still built what they built, you know, against those type of odds. You know, and they couldn't sustain it because of white supremacy. You know.
I want to add something. COVID taught a lot of us that some things are actually capable of happening. They did a stimulus for a lot of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to do some type of reparations, they could do it similar to a stimulus. It doesn't have to be 40 acres. Of course, there's not enough land for them to give us all. But what they could do is, similar to a stimulus, come up with a number that's not an insult,
Mm-hmm.
but that can put in their pockets. And similar to what was done with the Native Americans, give pieces of land. Like, okay, this is like how they have casinos. Like, you can put this on there, and it could be something to be determined. They have casinos. It could be something that can be determined, like you can have your own mall here. something that generates money, but it would be for the people. And I'm not just saying one, because there ain't just one casino. It's not just one of, you got something upstate there. You got some in Long Island. Like you got the joints
Yeah.
spread out.
Syracuse. Yeah.
Right.
All
So
over.
give us some. We don't have to have one in each state, but give us some and have it connected to our people so that as money is being generated, it could come. When I was doing the Black Wall Street, introducing it, I was doing some couple of YouTube videos. I put in a Zoom presentation. So I had some people come on Zoom and we talked about it and saying, okay, we're going to put some money together and then we're going to buy some real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That and third. Now, I've had people that they liked the idea. But another thing that COVID did produce was more scammers came because so many people were willing to participate in, what do they call them? Susus? You know what those are?
No.
All right. It's a kitty, so to speak, where people put their money in and it grows. They take turns taking it. So they have different names for it, but one of them is called a susu.
Okay.
Some of the Jamaicans that I know just call it your partner. Then they introduced that. Some scammers introduced that, and they like, listen, you got to put money in it, and it's like on steroids because you bring two people, you bring two people, you bring two people. So all these concepts of generating wealth got introduced, and a lot of people got taken advantage of.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
came upon my intentions are totally legitimate.
Right.
And it's like, okay, he's not talking like they're talking, but a lot of that got played out. So we know that's frauds. So if you're going to be a fraud, he got to be different. So it's like people was with it, but now they're hearing about, oh, this one lost this money, this one lost this money, this one, I don't know about this. So in order to be successful in putting this together, it has to be a way that, because this was people were doing cash apps. Like we can't do a cash app because it was so anonymous, meaning untraceable. Like you need to be able to put it in a fund or something that can be monitored. Like this is legit and real because a lot of people would like to participate. I know that. Like I said, I was a part of a site, a bunch of, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was blackout. They was calling for a blackout, meaning that people not purchase at a certain time. And this site was large and on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a part of the site, and I'm like, yo, if everybody from this site just participated, it would be large.
Right.
But they have to believe, and whoever is running it, just like how you're saying, some leaders, these people would have to have credibility, and they have to have their own money. Like if Jay-Z said, let's do it, they'd be like, we know y'all ain't gonna rip us off. Y'all got money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
And,
saying,
yeah.
I'm just their names, that those are household names of black people that we know have money, and they have no reason to try to con everybody. They could just make another record if they want people to spend money.
Right. And not only that, they have a proven track record that they can get money and keep it and expand and grow and build other businesses like Jay-Z. It's like a conglomerate now. He done went from just rapping to the beat to clothing to part ownership in an NBA team. He working with the NFL now. The club 40/40. I mean, it's like you make enough money, you have to do something with that money. It just can't sit there. It's got to be active. And they've proven that they know how to utilize their money to make more money and to expand and give opportunities to other people as well.
You called 40 million of the tool above ground railroad. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, on one of the pages on the website, we describe 40 million in the tool as the above ground railroad. And the reason for that is because my greatest inspiration for 40 million in the tool is Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman gave us a template of how to get free. Now we talking physical freedom back then. And that template was, you want your freedom? Take it.
You know who's on,
huh?
You know who's on my shirt?
Oh, look at you. I didn't realize that. Listen, all praises due. That's my sheroes. She's number one. And so, yeah. And what I'm saying is that she provided the template of how to get free. Take your freedom. And I'll give some props to Frederick Douglass as well, because he also took his freedom. And not only did he do that, he beat his master down and then bounced. So my hat's off to Fred as well. But Harriet was part of that Underground Railroad, and they had to operate under the cover of darkness and had these little stops along the way, all the way up to Canada, running the railroad, getting people free. So that was the Underground Railroad. And so I describe 40 million in the tool as the above ground railroad.
Right.
Because we don't have to operate under the cover of darkness. We could do this movement and build this wealth for us as a people right in the light of day, right above ground for all to see. It's not illegal to give your money to a cause that you believe in, and you can utilize the internet or any type of way you want to do that to make a contribution to something. And so I'm saying that would be a way for us to take our financial freedom right out of the American economy and place it into a fund that we control. So just as Harriet took her freedom, help others take their freedom, 40 million tool is beckoning African American. Let's take what we call our birthright of wealth.
You know what? You already said that there's a fund. How do you suppose that we get some Black leaders to at least give it some thought? Like, give it some thought so they can make a consideration on whether or not to support or what have you. How do we approach them? How do we get them introduced to it?
Well, the question was posed to me of, well, how come Black leaders are not talking about 40 million tool or, something similar? It doesn't have to be that, but how come the Black leaders of the day if we want to call them that, why aren't they using their platforms to speak to us as a whole and say, look, this is something we should be doing? Now, they do that with regard to voting. They do that with regard to go to school, get an education. They do that in regards to get a job, take care of your family. They exhort and admonish us to do all kind of things, but what it boils down to is they are encouraging us to just get down with the program as it's already laid out. Here's your way, your path to success in America or in life if you just do these things. And what I'm saying is, wait a minute, there's still a disconnect and an imbalance and a deprivation that was caused by history. So it's almost as if they want to just forget about our history and not acknowledge that, the past and present and the future are all interrelated. And if there are ills and there are deficits and things that need to be corrected, we can't hide from them. We can't push them aside and say, okay, just go on out there and make it. This rugged individualism. This is the path. This is the thing that they put on you, on us, that we have to make it on our own 2 feet, and all that's well and good. I mean, in a sense, yes, we do, especially grown as men, women. Yeah, we do. We got responsibilities. If we got children and whatnot, we got responsibilities. But we have been working from such a deficit of history and of events and of deliberate things that have prevented us from thriving as a community and as a people. We need to address those things. We need to correct those things, and we need to insulate ourselves against those things happening to us again. That's where I tied in with that crowd of people who are trying to get control of the government, because those people do not care about us. Those people do not want us to have anything. Those people do not want us in any shot calling positions in government or anything. In fact, they don't even believe we belong here. You heard what Trump said about that girl, Ilhan Omar. She's a representative out of Minnesota, and her family migrated to America from the Sudan. And Sudan, there's a war-torn, country. So anybody can escape from there and get to a better place. More power to her. I wish that for them. But her family got here, and she's a United States representative. Worked her way through, the American way and the whole nine. And what this dude say about her? She needs to go back to where she came from.
Right, that was right.
She's an American. What are you talking about? Go back to where she came from. Go back to where she belonged. And so it's like, what Black people have to understand, and we don't have to beat people in the head with it over and over every day and all that, but what we have to understand as a people is that there is a large amount of people in this country who do not accept us as Americans, as equal Americans, and feel that, we have the right to have an equal say in charting the course of this country and what happens, at home and abroad. They feel like, listen, whatever we give y'all just be happy with that. You ain't supposed to be the president. You ain't supposed to look at Congress. Look at the Senate. Look at the governors. There's only been one black, well, there was two, didn't it? And then wasn't there like a black governor in New York when they caught homeboy with the prostitute? What's his name? Elliot
Andrew
Spitzer.
Cuomo.
Spitzer. No, back. Remember Spitzer
Oh yeah.
when he was governor, and then when he had to resign, the brother that was legally blind.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
forgot his name.
Be like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But
He
yeah.
became governor for a little hot minute, right?
Yeah.
But aside from him, the only other governor that we've had in this country was Douglas Wilder when he was the governor of Virginia. So it's like you talk about breaking through and glass ceilings and this, that, and the third. Um, Man, listen, we are still so underrepresented in the positions that really mean something, that really are powerful and shot calling positions. Like, governors, they can call down the National Guard and have them run down right there on your corner, in your neighborhood. You know, that's how powerful they are. They can shut down whole cities, you know what I mean? Cut off power supplies, whatever.
They're
If they feel like they need to come and get you.
they're the president of the state. Yeah,
Right,
they're the top dog.
right. And they don't listen, and they have worked very hard to keep black people out of positions like that. But I mean, that's a whole nother story. That's just the long stemmed history of how we were, disenfranchised and kept out of these type of positions. Like you got a lot of places right now and in the South where black people are like 70 to 80% of the population, but yet the mayor is white.
Yeah,
You
what's
know,
his name?
huh?
What's his name? Patterson, the black man?
Right. David Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah, but he wasn't elected. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He was a lieutenant governor, and
yeah.
he had to slide just like the girl now, Kathy Hochul. She had to slide in at the Cuomo, because that's the next person in line.
Right.
So, you know, um, our leaders tell us to pursue all these things, in the political arena and business and education and this and that. And what I'm saying is this: yes, we should do all that, but simultaneously, we need to start building wealth as a
Of course.
people and stop depending on the government, to give us reparations or to give us anything. We need to do this for ourselves. And you know what? Here's the ironic thing about it. White people know that we are paused and are on the precipice of being able to achieve something like this. And historically speaking, our unity and our ability to have wealth and control the resources of our own communities, that's the one thing that they have always feared the most. Unity and resources. That's why Marcus Garvey had to get deported. That's why he had to go. He had too many black people believing what he was saying and putting their money where their mouth was. And they said, oh no, this man is involved in some wire fraud, so we got to trump up something on him and get him up out of here. And they did just that.
Here's,
So,
here's the deal. Once we are able to control our own economics and
mhm,
create an economic system, then we become someone that they have to listen to, they have to cater to. If you want to get into office, you have to provide some things that satisfy our wants and our needs because our money equates to power.
that's right.
Period.
That's right. That's how it is with the Asians. How do listen? here we are. Let's go back to the 60s when, again, we begging and we moral shaming, the white people of America, how they treating us. They sick of German shepherds on us, spraying us down with fire hoses and all this type of thing. Guess what? There was no large, strong Asian community in America at that time. Everything back then was pretty much defined black and white. Not even Latinos, Puerto Ricans, none of that. You ain't see none of them getting hosed down and all. It was all black people, demanding some respect and some dignity from the way that white people was treating them. So you bring that up to now, and how do you get Asian people from various Asian communities? I don't care if it's Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, China, come over here and they coalesce, unified, stayed unified, built wealth, built their Chinatowns all over the place, San Francisco, LA, New York, take care of their own. You don't see no black people working in those Chinese restaurants, not even washing dishes. They're not even giving you a menial job in they spot. And then what happens? The politicians go to courting them and they listen to them. And they look how quick that Asian hate law passed. The anti-Asian, anti-hate, whatever, anti-Asian hate law, whatever the name of it is. Look how quick that passed just from them showing on TV a few examples of people shoving little old Asian ladies in the street or punching an old Asian man, in the face. And next thing you know, there's a law, a national law.
You're right.
What about, where's the anti-black, hate crime bill?
And oh man.
You see, so what I'm saying is that America, they respond to unity and economic wherewithal. They respond to that because that's the language that they understand. That's the language capitalism understands. You ain't coming with no loot. You better, get on away from around here. And your vote, if you vote, because a lot of us don't even vote.
Right.
We don't even vote. We don't own no property. We don't pay no taxes. They don't listen to a word you got to say. We don't want to hear none of that police brutality, racial profiling. Don't even come around here with that. Now, if the Asians start getting racial profile and they band together and say, look, this got to stop, it stops.
Yeah.
So what it all boils down to, as far as 40 million in a tool is concerned, is that nobody's going to give us anything. Nobody's going to do anything for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And anybody that's on the outside looking at our community or looking at black people in America, they're probably looking at us and saying, what's wrong with them niggas? They got every tool at their disposal if they would just unify and do something. It's done. They got the internet, they got GoFundMe, they got small dollar donations, and there's 40 million of them. What's wrong with them?
You know what happens? We unify for certain battles, and then we disperse again.
It's George Floyd.
They'll riot, they'll, have their little situations, and they usually, I'm going to say we, even though I haven't been a part of it, I've been locked the hell up, but I'm going to say we just to show that I'm talking about a collective that I include myself in.
Right.
We will make some noise about a situation, usually going about it the wrong way. So instead of attracting attention that's going to help remedy the situation, we end up attracting attention in a negative light, which gets more people in trouble. So it diminishes the importance of whatever the event was, because it allows them to look at it as these people don't know how to act, we shouldn't listen to them, and so on. And it takes away from whatever the cause was. Understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
First of all, we need to be able to get together in a civil way and be uniformed and have it organized so that we have a goal and we have ways to achieve the goal and we go about it in an orderly fashion. Because similar to how I wasn't alive at this time, I wasn't born yet, but I'm only going by the movie in the Malcolm X, when the brother was in jail and the police beat him up and you had all the people standing outside making noise and he held up his hand, everybody got quiet. That showed the power. It was like, yo, listen, you're gonna let brother such and such go. They saw the power, they knelt to the power. They said, okay, well, listen, we're gonna let him go. Similar to that, you have it organized, you have a leader or leaders, everybody play their respective role, and then we can actually get some things accomplished. At the very minimum, get heard.
Right.
A lot of times, once you get heard, that's the beginning of resolving a problem. To talk. When you're not talking, it's like, yo, you're not even listening. So how are you going to give me what I want when you won't even listen to me?
So just to get zero back in on your actual question about Black leaders and why they're not talking about stuff like this, or what will it take to get them to, buy in. I use an analogy of a sports franchise, right? Uh, I look at Black leaders as like they're the franchise, the coaching staff of us, and their job is to put together a strong franchise, put together a winning team, put that team on the field, knowing that it has an equal chance at that championship of winning, right? Uh, and so I look at Black leaders as the coaching staff and the franchise, and then I look at every year we come in last place every year. So a shakeup is needed. That's what happens in sports. You can't keep doing that year in and year out. Heads roll. Coaches, it can change. The franchise might get sold. Players get moved around. Trades are made. They are always making moves to try to put the best team on the field that they can. And so our leaders are really failing us in that regard, because they see the statistics. They see that every year Black people die in greater numbers, uh, uh, health disparities, high blood pressure, and any other type of disease, more so than any other group of people, disproportionately incarcerated throughout the country, lack of health care on every level, uh, wealth disparities, uh, you know, what we make compared to an average white person, dollar for dollar, way behind. So it's like, hold up. if this is the statistics every year, year in and year out, we need to make a change. So I'm saying with 40 million too, listen, man, I'm on the African American team. I have no choice. I was born on the African American team. So I'm saying, listen, can we call an emergency huddle? I want to suggest a play. Yeah, I want to suggest a play. I'm
Right.
calling a huddle. And like any play, you call it razzle dazzle, Hail Mary, whatever. Any play can produce a touchdown.
Right.
And so we can't keep playing perpetual catch up.
Right.
Let's try another play. And 40 million in the two is offering itself up as a play. Listen, put it in the playbook, man. That's all we saying. We agree with going to school, get an education, work hard, take care of your family. We believe in all that. But we also believe that we deserve to be in a much better position economically in this country than we are. And we have the ability to do that for ourselves. And the people that the masses of us listen to need to be telling us that. Right. So that we can begin to believe it, so that that can begin to germinate throughout our people and throughout our generations coming forward. Our children, they need to be imbibing on this type of understanding, and having that pride and that confidence in themselves when they go up in the schools, as opposed to, man, I don't want no white man's education. Where do we get that from? What white man's education? There ain't no such thing as a white man's education. Basic literacy, knowing how to read, write, and compute, that's universal. That's for everybody entitled to have that. But we conveniently use those as excuses, to rebel against something because we don't want to apply ourselves, or we don't feel like, we can achieve and excel. And that's a very convenient way to just drop out of the whole, thing, and then go join a gang or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't got to know how to read, write, and learn. I'm gonna be that nigga up in Attica somewhere, knocking on the dude's door at 1 a.m, asking him to read my mail for me. No, we need to break out of that cycle. Just like I know brothers, in penitentiary who band together and educate and teach themselves. They get together in groups because they recognize even in there that, wait a minute, man, this brother is illiterate. You know what I mean? He can't, he don't know how to read or write, but we could teach each other how to do those things. We got the time. You know what I mean? And we got the opportunity. We can do that for each other. It takes me all the way back to when we used to go to, the schoolyard to play a game of basketball, and get there and see, oh man, there ain't no rim. Rim is torn down. And so what we gonna do? Man, we each dug up in our pockets and came up with whatever little change or a few dollars we each had, put that together, ran down to the sporting goods spot, Modell's or somewhere, and bought a rim. And got a ladder and some tools, put that rim up, hit the net up to it, and then we was balling until the sun went down. That's the same type of idea. I mean, we do it in little minuscule ways, and it's just like, second nature to us. We don't think about it in the macro in terms of, damn, we could do things like that as a whole entire people.
Right.
We recognize the need, then we say, okay, how can we address the need, and what's it going to take to eliminate the problem? And I'm just trying to lay all that out with 40 million in the tool to bring the, all the disparate pieces in together as a community, and not like blame anybody or single anybody out or anything like that who are supposed to be a black leader or who call the black leader or whatever. No, that's my brother. You know what I mean? That's my sister. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody or talk negative about anybody. All I'm saying is, listen, we slightly off course. We need to get back to the unfinished business that our ancestors began, building wealth as a people. That's the unfinished business of African Americans. We ain't got to beg the white man or the government for nothing. We in position to do this, and then, like you said, people will pay attention to us and they will listen to us, and our concerns will be addressed in a more equitable and full-throated way.
You're right. Well, I appreciate your time and the conversation. You and I can always build, man. We always have good conversations when we have time to catch up with one another. So
yeah,
I will holler at you. I want you to feel free that anytime you see me on,
mm-hmm.
to shout me out and we can build about whatever topic, current events or whatever, because you actually do other things and you haven't even mentioned that as of yet. So let us know what else you do and how we can catch up with you.
Well, listen, man. Like I said, I'm honored always, to chop it up with you and build, because that's our history. That's all we really know how to do with one another. And so, anytime, man, that I can make myself available, and vice versa, I'm here. I'm here, plugging away with this thing, and I just need my people. For me, I just want to see the makings of this movement getting off the ground in my lifetime. I look at the 150 something years that we've been talking reparations and begging and litigating and pleading and this and that, and all through those years we see nothing but technological advancement, and we to the point now where there's so many tools that we could use if we just took a breather and stepped back and said, hold up, we ain't got to do that no more. We don't got to beg and plead no more. We need to get off of that program and put a different program down where we can get some wealth damn near overnight. When I first wrote the book, I had said, I made a statement about if Black people was to get on the road to self-reparations by 2015, right? Because the book came out 2005, 6, around there. And so I was looking ahead to 2015, giving it time to, germinate and, catch on. And I said, if Black people was to start on the road to building wealth on the plan of self-reparations by 2015, in 20 years, we'd be a wealthy people.
Yeah, no doubt about that. With the small numbers you said per person, and those millions of people per month, we would generate millions of dollars per month. So,
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
the period, we'd be probably in the billions.
Yes. Easily. Easily. That's why, to your point, we would definitely have to have trusted, competent leadership council in place, with all the requisite public service announcements, through the internet, because I remember Chuck D has said something years ago. He said that hip hop is the black CNN.
Hmm.
And I knew exactly what he was saying when he said that, because the music, it's like back in the days when I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about what was going on in LA,
Right.
the other side of the coast. That was like, or even down south, unless I went down there, something, family reunion or whatever. Didn't know nothing about how the people thought, what they was into, the style of clothes we was wearing was always different. Because you know how we used to talk about dudes coming up from the country. It's like, damn, man, what shit you wearing? You know what I mean? It's like, and, but now, with the advent of hip hop and rap music, it spread like wildfire. Once it hit the airwaves, and the brothers, now it's like there's a unanimity in the culture of hip hop because of the music. And that's what Chuck D was saying. He's saying we get news about each other now instantaneously. Hip hop is the CNN for black people.
We need we need our own black treasury, a treasurer that's in charge, and someone that everyone knows and trusts, so to speak.
Well, it
And,
don't have to be one person.
no, but I'm just treasury meaning um, a system of where the money goes, and it doesn't have to be one person that's overseeing it, but a system just like the U.S. has a treasury.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Mint, we have to have our own black treasury where we know, listen, this money is going to the black treasury every month like a bill. It could be set up
Right.
like where it just
Right.
gets pulled and like automatically
And
and
that's just another name. That's just another name for the fund, the treasury.
right.
But
But
the thing is, I
uh,
set it up because when we was building the website, what we had to build into the website was a donate button. And so I'm saying I got to set a fund up. I got to set an account up in a reputable bank, a financial institution. Or what's the sense in having a donate button if money can't go nowhere and be deposited somewhere? So that's why I had to go in and get the employee identification number from the IRS, took that paperwork to the bank. Uh, I want to set up a business account. It's called the Self Reparations Fund, and bing, bang, bang. Here's the AIN number, tax ID number, however they want to call it, and they set it right on up. And so I created a page on the website to actually show the monies that's in the account in a real-time basis. So in other words, anytime somebody would donate through Stripe or PayPal, or even send a check directly, to, because the address of the bank and everything is right there on the website. I'll tabulate that, put it on the page, so that people will see, oh, that's how much money is in the fund right now, and have the actual bank statements from month to month. I'm converting them into PDF form so that I can post them online if any time, transparency, like you said, there's people scamming people and doing all this other type of stuff. No, I'm accounting for every penny that's sent to the fund. And then the thought it was, if enough people start donating and the money gets to growing, that's going to attract the attention of a lot of our people also. And that's when the leadership council is going to be needed the most, because I'm going to just turn all that over to the leadership council. People that we look at and say, you know what, yeah, like you said, this person is filthy rich. They're not trying to rob me, you know. Yeah, I trust that they can, you know, manage these funds and, you know, and you know, help it grow. I'm gonna give to that, you know. So I'm trying to get the athletes interested and you know, supporting this. Like matter of fact, what I wanted to go back to, you had made me think about when you were saying how what the government can do very easily in terms of uh, like what they did for, you know, Native Americans with the casinos and the things like that. I was talking to a reparations lawyer not too long ago. Um, in fact, you might know her. Her name is Deidre Palman. Um, she's the one who took Aetna uh, uh, to court over their involvement in the slave trade, and her, yeah, and took them to court and was beating them, and ultimately they deaded the lawsuit. Um, but in fact, I put that on the website too. There's a link for people who, you know, to look into that, you know, just for studying and historical purposes. But I was talking to her a few weeks ago, and I told her, I said, look, you're a lawyer. I want to run something by you, and you tell me how, you know, how it sound. I said, the lottery, the state lotteries in every state in the union, I said, that's also a theft from black people. It was a black man who invented the lottery, who started the lottery, you know, number running and number bookers and all of that. It was a black man who started that. In fact, he was West Indian. I don't know if he's Jamaican or whatever, you know, exact thing, but he's from the Caribbean, but he was in America. He, you know, was a citizen and everything. And he started it. I forgot his name. I got the book. Matter of fact, I got the book right here that I read when I learned all this. You see what the name of that is?
Running the numbers.
Right, right. Now, this book here, when I read that, man, it detailed the whole step-by-step way in which state governments, especially New York, because New York was the first state, well, actually Jersey was, but New York was right there with them to start implementing state lotteries. And it was all designed after seeing black people making this money that started out as a little penny ante thing nobody's paying attention to. And then when they saw how much money these number bankers was actually making, well, you know, the mob, Lucky Luciano and his little crew, they start trying to move in on these brothers and sisters that had these number houses, you know, trying to making them pay, you know, to operate. You know how they did the shakedown game, right? So the mob was moving in on them, and the local police was getting the bag. They was getting the payoff so that they don't run up in the number houses and take people to jail. You know, it's victimless crime, but still technically on the books, you know, crime, gambling, whatever. But nobody was getting hurt. you hit the number, you got a little paper. You don't, what you lose, a nickel, dime, quarter, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it was. So the state came in and under the auspices of removing the mob from the number game and reining in corrupt police who was getting paid off from the number game. We need to take this, and what we'll do is we'll just legalize it and run it ourselves. They took it from everybody. So I'm saying to Deidre, I'm saying, you know what? That's another theft from Black people that's still going on today.
Well, you just said it. We need to give us a lottery.
Right. Run the state lotteries back to Black people.
Let one of us, you can make a new one, but let that one be ours.
Right. And you know what? Listen.
Give us a number.
There was
Black Lotto.
And listen, and I know, even though the states got the lotteries, there's still number bookers in the hoods.
Of course.
People still running numbers, but back then when the states was stepping in to take the numbers game away from Black people, using those bogus excuses and reasons to legally do it.
Right.
Politicians like Adam Clayton Powell, there was another brother, this brother here, he was an activist, in Harlem. His name is well known. I just can't call it right off the top of my head. But what they was doing was they was all in Albany, going back and forth with the politicians saying, listen, man, if y'all gonna do this, let Black people run it. And see, and that's one of the chapters in here where it explains it. And the name of the chapter is "We Intend to Run It." And that's what them brothers were saying to the state, that if y'all get your hands on this lottery thing, we intend to run it. We already running it. We know the ins and outs of the game. We got the customers, we got everybody.
Right.
So go ahead, legalize it, do your thing. But we intend to run it. They ain't run nothing. They got cut out of it, the whole nine. The states took it over, and the states is just raking in that money. And so my thing to her was, do you think we can make a case to the various state governments? Because see, they don't need the president or the federal government to be involved at all. That whole reparations thing, it could, that's a side thing. We talking on the state level. Each individual state can decide what they do with their lottery money. So I'm saying, even if it's like 10%, just 10% annually of what's raked in from the lottery, run that to the self-reparations fund or whatever fund that Black people are in control of, so that we can start rebuilding our communities, our neighborhoods, and start getting our people back on the road to thinking like wealthy individuals. Like, yes, we have something. You know what I mean? Now we got something to work with.
Right.
And she said, well, you know what? What you might want to do is take that to one of your local representatives, because they could take it and introduce it on the state legislature level as a bill of some sort. And so, I'm contemplating doing that. But where I live at, I wouldn't talk to these all like white dudes. They're not going for it. I would have to talk to somebody down in the city, you know, like Charles Barron or somebody, one of them, who would, you know, advocate for something like that. And I'm thinking also, like Republican-run states, they definitely not going for it. They're not gonna do it, right? That's a hard no. But there's enough Democratic control state houses where they can at least consider it and look at it and say, you know what, uh, we've been looking at ways to try to, you know, compensate, you know, Black people in our state for our involvement in, you know, slave trade, Jim Crow, this, that, the third, you know, all the way up to today, you know, police corruption, police brutality, racial profiling. There's lots of things they could say, well, this is a way that we can, you know, at least try to make some kind of amends. So it's
Right.
plausible. You know, she told me, she said, it's plausible. You just have to have somebody present it and let them, you know, mull it over. And they don't need the approval of no federal government or nobody. Just all they need is the legislature, run it in the bill, pass it, governor sign it, bang. 10% of the lottery money coming back to Black people, you know, every year. So those are the type of things I think about, you know, based on the information that I be getting and the things that I read and stumble upon, or, you know, find out about as creative ways of looking at an old problem. We need to look at, you know, old problems from different angles today. We just can't keep doing the same old thing. You know the definition of insanity, you know?
That's right.
So yeah, so hit me up anytime, man. You know, I'm plugging away, and we definitely can expand the conversation out. You know, I hope that, you know, some people will visit the site and you know, give it a look, see, and see what's going on. Because, you know, just like Harriet Tubman, you know, she couldn't even get her own husband to run off to freedom with her, right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. John Tubman, he wouldn't go.
Oh yeah.
She left that ass behind, you know? So it's like all slaves didn't get down with insurrections, you know, or escape attempts or whatever. And so I don't expect all of Black people to embrace, you know, a concept like 40 million and two, you know, and just flock to it and like, yeah, I'm down, I'm down, I'm down. You know, no, we haven't done that on nothing, you know, but if enough were to get down and participate and we make some noise, it'll still benefit even those that you know was skeptical or, you know, wanted to take a look-see approach, you know, and they'll come on later, you know what I mean? Because it's still about all of us. We wasn't enslaved as individuals. We was enslaved as a people, you know,
Yeah.
and we lost sight of that, man. We got to get back. Got to get back. It's like Back to the Future. That is our future, getting back to the business of building wealth as a people.
I appreciate it, bro. You really shine some light on 40 million in the tool and reparations, and as a whole, our state as Black people in America.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Like I said, it's always a pleasure building with you because it seems like the more we build, the more you show me another part of you, the deeper that you get. Like, because I didn't know about Harriet Tubman's husband. We didn't
Yeah.
stay in school.
Yeah. He's a knucklehead. And
That was
she left
that was
that
some
ass right there in
good.
slavery. You
Yeah.
know? And I mean I felt sad for her when I read that, you know, and reading the histories, because I read several books, even her own accounts of what, what she was going through. And when I came upon that kind of hurt me, even, for her, that she had to leave her own husband behind, man. But look at the times that they was living in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anything and everything could mean certain death right there on the spot. So, and the type of thing she was talking about was definitely a death sentence.
Right. But some people rather live like a coward than die like a man. So
right.
Understand.
Sadly. Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
It was good hollering at you, brother. We will have more comments, hopefully, and even more online. Just be ready, brother.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Do the YouTube thing, the Instagram, whatever. It's all about getting the content out there, and hopefully, if it resonates with people, then we off and running.
Okay.
You
have a good night, my brother.
Yep. And if I don't talk to you between now and the first, man, have a good New Year. Blessings to the family and everything. Stay up.
That's right. Enjoy your holidays and be safe.
No doubt.
Danny Sims, it was my apologies. He's been on from when I told him to be on. I just didn't. The last name wasn't the same as what I thought, so I thought it was another Daniel that I knew that was watching. But he's a deep brother. He's an entrepreneur. He's a deep thinker, and go check him out. See what he's up to online, and see what's up with 40 million in the tool. This is Johnny Bunton Jr. 25 ways to make 25K. It's just a highlight on the different brothers and sisters, entrepreneurs, and the things that people are doing inside my community and yours, and different ways that they're shining a light on us as a people. It isn't just focused on someone in a business sense as of like, okay, I own this store, I do this, I do this. He's a part, he is the essence of the movement, 40 million of a tool. And it's not about him in the individual sense. It's about the uplifting of us as a people and wealth building in general, not just building for his own pockets. So thank you very much. Please like it, please share it, because I need other people to see it and talk about it, because we need to actually engage in this topic of conversation more so that people can basically call the government on their promise of the 40 acres and a mule type of thing, and not saying they have to give it to us, but open your mind up to the possibilities of acting on your own to establish that wealth. As a child, when you ask your mom and father for this, can I have, can I have, can I have, can I have, and if they say no, 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 I know me, I went about, okay, well, I can't get this. I'm gonna find a way to get it myself. That's all I'm trying to say. They said they was gonna give us this, give us this, give us this, and this is before any of our time. Anybody who is watching this is too young, because that's how long ago this was. Anybody who can see this, anybody that's alive on this planet right now is too young. They've been saying this for longer than anybody's been alive. So it's time to just say, hey, yo, let me get mine. So stop waiting and start participating in your own destiny. That being said, Johnny Bunton Jr., 25 ways to make 25K. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your holidays. Cling.